UCLA handles its business in the first round of March Madness, but Saturday is going to be a hell of a challenge. The Davonte Adams signing continues to earn plaudits for the Rams, and 3 members of last year's Dodgers championship team gets demoted to AAA. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is March 21st, 2025. By the time you get this clip, I'm going to be on a plane heading home, and it's about damn time. I have been gone too long. I'm going to look at my wife like I have been locked up in the pen for 10 years. But what do you say we start off with a nice chat about LA sports? And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It lets you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, we have an expanded look at the scoreboard because UCLA just beat the daylights out of Utah State 72-47 in the first round of the NCAA Tournament. Sky Clark and Eric Daly each scored 14 for the Bruins. They advanced to play second-seeded Tennessee on Saturday. And I'm already looking ahead. Now look, I don't like giving out hot takes. You can find your favorite flavor of hopium anywhere on the internet. But what I will tell you is that the Volunteers have 4 dudes who have average scoring in double figures all year, which sounds like a real challenge to UCLA's defense. And it is. But there might be a key to trying to put a lid on the Volunteers because the offense appears to run through shooting guard Chaz Lanier, who led the Volunteers to their first round victory and also has led the team in scoring all year. And I might even add, if you go through the NBA mock drafts, Lanier is consistently popping up as a second round pick. So he seems to be the guy. Which brings up an interesting question. Who faces him on defense? If UCLA decides to play physical, which is not a bad idea in the postseason, do you use Kobe Johnson? A 2-time Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. Now, my initial thought is that's what you would do. But if not, maybe what you do is you put Dylan Andrews on Lanier and have Johnson kind of lurking around to surprise Tennessee, trying to disrupt passing around the perimeter. And turnovers do matter to UCLA. Consider Thursday's win. They forced Utah State into 11 turnovers and converted those into 20 points. Kind of mattered. Now we know Sebastian Mack won't be much help on defense, even if he were healthy, which he appears not to be. He left the game Thursday with a groin injury. As you know, we have a very strict don't discuss men's groins policy here at Faithful Angelenos. Now, having said that, the Bruins are going to have their own problems on offense. Tyler Bilodeau has been slumping of late, and in addition to that, Tennessee plays a 3-guard, 2-big lineup. Both of the Volunteers' bigs taller than Bilodeau. So yeah, it's a challenge. I'm not going to sit there and say UCLA season ends on Saturday. I think they have a possibility of winning, but it's most definitely a challenge. In addition to that, Milwaukee beat up the Lakers 118-89. There was no Luka Doncic in that match. Also, Kings 3, Chicago 1. Meanwhile, today, Memphis is at the Clippers at 7:30, and Angel City FC is traveling up to play Portland at 7. So let's get back to the news. Are you a Rams fan like I am? Are you a Rams fan to the extent that you kind of feel bad about Cooper Kupp leaving, but then you're like, woo, Davonte Adams? Well, if you are, you're not alone. CBSSports.com thinks adding Adams is the best signing of the NFL offseason. ESPN labeled it as one of 5 signings across the NFL that gets an A grade. Now, ESPN gave arguably the best take about adding Adams, saying that this was a second attempt at diversifying the Rams' offense. The first attempt came about 3 years ago. They tried to match Cooper Kupp with Allen Robinson, if you remember. Only Robinson couldn't get past the line of scrimmage because he kept stepping on every rake out of the Home Depot. He could not get out of his own way. Now, bringing Robinson was supposed to work in theory, right? You have Kupp, who would be the over-the-middle tough catch guy, and Robinson playing the X-receiver role, trying to go deeper routes. You fast forward to today, Puka Nacua obviously does all the things that Kupp did. So, the addition of Adams is a wager that the Rams are placing. The wager is Davonte Adams better now than Allen Robinson was back then? Now you consider Adams, who didn't have a particularly solid year last year, but he was catching passes from Gardner Minshew, and then he goes to this defective island of misfit toys that is known as the New York Jets. It's not much of a stretch to bank on a rebound for the guy. Meanwhile, with the Dodgers, while players and coaches were in Tokyo, the front office was making moves back at Camelback Ranch. Clayton Kershaw was placed on the injured list. This was expected. The guy underwent 2 surgeries in the offseason. That made room for Matt Sauer. The dude made his major league debut last year in Kansas City. He was absolutely terrible. He is the latest in a long line of Dodgers reclamation projects, but yeah, you're on the 40-man roster, but they sent him off to Oklahoma City. Also, the Dodgers sent 3 more players who played a role in last year's team off to the manure pit of North America. Oklahoma City bound are James Outman and his rebuilt swing that didn't work, along with Justin Wrobleski and Landon Knack. Landon Knack, who, by the way, pitched in Tokyo. You almost have to wonder if the guy got downgraded for the flight back home. Like they decided instead to give him a coach ticket, or even worse, did they tell Knack, hey, you're being demoted. Here's your flight back on Southwest. I mean, seriously, have you ever flown Southwest? It's like a petting zoo with wings. What do you want me to say? It literally, if you ever boarded on Southwest, it kind of goes like this. They throw a bucket of feed in the back of the plane and yell, all aboard, and everybody just crowds in. So let's all take a moment and feel bad for Outman, Knack, and Wrobleski. Seriously, how would you like to get one of them big-ass championship rings and then a one-way ticket to Oklahoma? Not a good way to start the year. Meanwhile, let's all congratulate former Dodgers top prospect and eternal Dodger hater Alex Verdugo, who finally got a contract offer and promptly signed with the Atlanta Braves. Enjoy the humidity. Good times. NHL fans voted. And by the way, fan voting is about as trustworthy as Yelp reviews. But NHL fans voted Philip Anschutz as the 25th best owner in the NHL, which means he is the 6th worst owner in the NHL to these people. And I got to be honest with you, this has to almost be completely due to Kings fans being apoplectic over GM Rob Blake. It has to. You're trying to tell me that Anaheim's owners are better? Really? You're trying to tell me that owners in Seattle, Utah, San Jose are better? Guys, I understand. I'm frustrated with Rob Blake too, but cut it out. Philip Anschutz brought 2 rings to LA. Philip Anschutz built Crypto.com Arena. Now, rankings are pointless, but I will say this. The comments are indeed valuable. According to one unnamed Kings fan, described Philip Anschutz, frankly, to a T. Very hands-off, but willing to spend. Lacking in vision. Too committed to legacy players in management. Yeah, absolutely right. That is exactly how Philip Anschutz ran the Galaxy. And we all know what had to happen with the Galaxy in order for changes to be made. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go out and you boycott Kings games, because Rob Blake is probably on his way out at the end of his contract. Probably. But we'll have to wait and see. I think we all recognize this was kind of a lost year for the Kings anyway, the way that offseason went. But I don't think he's the 25th best owner in the NHL. You lose me with that low ranking. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about UCLA in the first round of the tournament, and what do you expect in the second round? And for that matter, are you salivating for Davonte Adams when the NFL season comes around? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Portel Queso production. Take care.